Good evening, traders. This is Mike Rabinowitz from MR Strategies. A little follow up on Sunday night's analysis. Going to give you a little insight into some possible strategies for tomorrow. I think the nature of the analysis stays relatively the same, and in terms of how I like to approach it and how I pay attention to price and whether or not they can sustain these higher highs. And you know these patterns continue to repeat themselves. They keep running them up and then they just roll over. Now today they they couldn't really break the dam. And as I stated in last night's analysis, was that look for any weaknesses into these higher openings and take advantage of them. And you got it today as well, and it's been playing out like this fairly well for the last week or two. But the underlying strength of this market is so bullish that you can just see no matter whether or not they can sustain these highs really isn't even the issue. It's to me it's a matter of when will we blow these highs out. And you know, in terms of how I like to trade and something I like to share with my traders is, you take advantage of it. It's obviously, you're opening them up here a little bit shy of the contract highs, and we're rolling. They're rolling over, and you have to take advantage of that. You know, one of the key statements I like to share with my traders is let the market prove to you what they're capable of. And just follow their lead and take what they give you, you know. And you can see how this session today played out. It opened up in the 30s, and it's about the third or fourth time we've opened up around there, and it just hasn't been able to hold. So and yet again, and they couldn't break the dam. I'm amazed they could not even take out the overnight low, which was around, I think it was 32.14. So, they're protecting it, they're holding it, and, I'll repeat myself. Underneath there is your gap. 32.14, 32.10 to 31.90 is your gap. If and when you'll trade it accordingly. And you can see already overnight, we're right back up here again. Just like I said, it seems like a matter of time before we're going to just take out these highs. But I think what kind of a little bit concerns me, but they have a way to make it all up is the Dow. We're only six handles or like 60 odd Dow points to uh, the ES contract high, which is 42.40, and yet we're sitting in the Dow at 34.620. So I would, something's got to give. Most likely the Dow is going to have a pretty significant run up, but in the event, I think the analysis stays the same, and you want to take advantage of any weaknesses, but let the market take care of its business. And you know they keep pushing them up there, so I gotta believe this is what they want to do and make a new contract high. You don't want to get in its way. You want to take advantage of that. And yet again, it remains always the same with me: is where are we when the market opens? And the pivot's always your key indicator. But today, you didn't get it. Today they opened above it, they rolled, and that was what was so interesting is that all day they couldn't get above the pivot. And then, typical fashion in a bull trend acceleration phases, they just mark it up late. They couldn't break it, and then they come in and they run it up. So, the other day is showing you that the underlying strength is really strong, and we want to respect the market completely. But in terms of opportunities, it's really, this didn't come on until late. I didn't take it. I took the short, and I played the short side. And once it started chopping around, I just let it go. I could see it right here. You can just see they just couldn't break it, and they ended up coming in and marking it up. So here we are for tomorrow, and you're ready at R1. Once again, I don't know where we're going to be come the morning bell, but I'm going to show you the same stuff I showed you yesterday. And I've set up this trend line, and I told you about how 42.10 or 08 was the big number, and we couldn't get there. Now this trend line is really up high, and this is coming in pretty much right around your pivot. So you're going to want to watch this. I don't know what we're going to do overnight, and whether or not we come down to this. It's very possible we can, and we'll take it from there. And then you want to play it because, like I said, maybe this market's just due to blow out the highs. So you get the signal, and that's where they're at because, unfortunately, by the opening bell, this trend line is going to be way up here. So it might be irrelevant. But the bigger trend line, and this is a super trend line underneath, this one down here I'm showing you, and take a look where this is coming in. 41.95, and that's just a little bit above your gap fill. So these are these trend lines. This one, more importantly, holds the bull trend intact for the most part. Although I'm sure it could go a lot further and still rebound. The market is just ridiculously strong, and it continues to impress. And no matter how often they sell off and or how hard they sell off, they continue to rally every time. Made its low down here, 4100, rallied back up into the mid fours, high 41s. One more rollover down to 40, 50, and these trend lines are all coming in from. Actually, this one right here is probably a little more relevant. So let me pop this one in right there because that one's coming in nice and cleanly right there. And that's 4160, but we'll deal with that when we get there. Like I said, you can put all the trend lines you want, and but until they get to those locations, there's just no need to get too excited about it. Once again, I'll repeat a gap from 4210 to 4190, but this market seems to be really poised. We're sitting here, we're within striking distance of the contract high all the way across the board. In fact, the Nasdaq looks like it's ready to blow its high, which is around, I think, 14,060. So it's only 150. So I don't know. Maybe this market's poised for a really big up day, and you have to respect it. So, and whether or not they could prove it and hold on to it. And sometimes the market, the strength is so overwhelming that they will. You get one of those days where they just blow through all the levels and they don't give much back until the end of the day. But I just don't know how that's going to unravel. I don't know if they're going to put pushing this overnight. I mean, just like that. I mean, the market looked weak all day, held 14, rallied up to 25, and they just seem to kind of add on to it. Although right now they're in a temporary reversal short right here, but I won't play this. I don't play it overnight. It's too thin. I just the same wait for the opening bell and see exactly where things are at and where the big money comes in and moves it around. Works better for me. So this is today's analysis of rolling into Tuesday's trading session. So pay attention to it. Once again, I think it's all, and I'm going to always share that thought with you guys because, and this is what I've always emphasized with a lot of my traders that I worked with in the rooms that I have monitored, is that, it's all about the price extremes and how well price handles those locations. And like I said yesterday, it's not like I don't believe the market is a value here and that it's not worthy of it, but to me it's like prove to me that you can maintain these levels. And that's why you get these sell-offs because you roll them up in the opening, and what traders are looking to jump on it and buy the highs. Everybody's nervous because they all feel that the market's due for a pullback. And as good as ever all the news is, I think a lot of people have a hard time jumping on board at these levels, and that's why you want to be patient and get the opportunities from the key locations. And that's take the pullback, buy the opportunities at the pivots. As always, I say pay attention to your 15 MAs early in the morning, and how well price holds that level. I mean, you can look at today's session, for example, and you know, we rolled over and it spent the entire day below the MAs, which was bearish in terms of the session, but they couldn't break the dam, and the trend line was sitting right there, which was S1, which they could never even get. They never even got to S1. So, and then they basically marked it up. So, the powers that be are holding it. The market's strong. We all know that. The news is great. Everything looks great. It just, we're kind of rolling into the summer here. So let's, be careful. Take advantage of the opportunities, but take them from where you're going to get a good return on your entries. Don't just chase the market to chase it. And I think that's what happens with a lot of traders. They get caught up. You see this opening here, and they're like, "Oh my God, this thing, another rally," and then you get caught up in it, and then they roll them over on you, and they hammer you. So be smart. Be smart. Take advantage of it from the key locations. There weren't a lot of great buys until the end of the day. So that some sessions are going to be like that. And then you take what you can. You don't have to trade everything. Be smart. So this is your action for tomorrow. You can see right here. Like again, it's too early. I have a trend line right here to Dow, sitting just around 34.6. I'll take a quick look at this Dow chart to give you a little help if you guys are paying attention. Is if you're trading Dow or use it as a guide with DES or the Nasdaq, and you can see right here the Dow. It's kind of holding on to this little trend line under MA right there at 34,560. And I kind of believe at some point today we filled that little Dow gap, but we never filled the ES gap. But sometimes they just don't work completely in line with each other. Sometimes just a couple of stocks, big stocks, could affect the Dow, and ES that maintains multiple stocks will just be much stronger. So you have to respect that. Sometimes just pay attention that a couple individual stocks could definitely have a big effect on the Dow, and the overall market can still rally. So, um, you can see these MAs down here. I just don't know. We're going to just have to see what this is in the morning. I want the opportunity to get along with like all traders do, but I'm more patient about it. I don't like chasing just to be on board. If I can't get it where I want it, I'm not going to trade it. And, it's fine by me. I know another bus will come, and, I'll take the next one and the next possible trade that lines up better with what I want and what I'm looking for in terms of my trading, and the higher probability locations that I know are going to give me a pretty good opportunity to make money. I'm going to probably, every trade you make is going to have risk. Nothing's perfect. They're not going to all stop on a dime, but it's all about confirmation, and make sure you get it. Don't just, even with my analysis, and I hope that some of your traders benefit from it, but everything has to be confirmed. Just because I say, this location or that location and is significant means nothing until the market proves that. So make sure you get the confirmation in any direction you go. And that way, you know what, you have a little more confidence with what you're doing. So I hope this is helpful. And once again, I'm going to keep emphasizing, if anybody out there really wants to trade this and hasn't been trading it and wants a little input, wants to open up an account and or get started, and if you've been doing this and you want to know a little bit more, I can provide a lot more information on what I'm giving here. I'm establishing a website that really breaks down all my theories and why I spend so much time paying attention to price and its relationship to the moving averages and intraday levels. And the more you trade, the more you're going to see how well they do react to all these locations. I mean, over and over, you look at the chart, and I mean, you know, and that's what I always say to these traders. Pay attention to the patterns. They repeat themselves over and over again, more often than you could possibly imagine. Because the market, believe it or not, they do. They pay. The big money is paying attention to a lot of these key locations. Whether or not they're trying to build on their long position or they're going to take some money off the table and take some profits from these higher highs. I mean, but I think overall they're maintaining long positions. But when the market sells off, it's just an opportunity for them to just take profits from some of their long positions, and then they get back on board at the value locations. Unless of course the market is definitely due for a significant correction, and I just don't know, and I'm not going to put that on the table. I think the market always finds its opportunities. I think the price has to balance itself out, and the market will every now and then it will give you those corrections. It's just the nature of the market's movement, and it's healthy for it, and it also brings in a new flow of money. A lot of people who have not gotten involved in the market, they look for these sell-offs to get in. And I think that's what the hesitation is sometimes at these peak levels, because you open up an account, you haven't traded or you haven't invested, and you're saying to yourself, my God, I'm buying a market at 35,000. Well, it's probably the same thing somebody might have said, when the market was at 25,000. What am I doing? And yet it keeps going. So, you just want to be smart about where you enter, and, you know, whether or not, you know, you're investing for the long term, obviously. And or if you're a day trader, you're trading it for the movement, and that's fine. Listen, I'm invested as well, but I utilize the futures to take advantage of the weakness in price, almost like a hedge. I take advantage of the sell-offs, although my underlying position in the market is long, and that's just taking advantage of it. So once again, this is MR Strategies. My name is Mike Rabinowitz. Hope you guys like what I say, what I share, and feel free to reach out to me. I'd be more than glad to share any thoughts and or opinions or criticisms of what I do. So feel free to reach out, and listen, guys. Have a great trading session. Take advantage of it. Hope you guys have a good week and continue to make money. And I hope that what I provide here helps you guys out. So have a great night. Take care, everybody.